guys, Accidental Master Student here. I wanted to talk today to you guys about strokes because May is the Awareness Month, and I just wanted to present to you information about stroke, but from a family perspective. So I suffered a stroke 6 years ago. I was 41 years old, and we didn't have any family history of stroke. And when it happened to me, I was on vacation with my family, and our vacation ended with me in the hospital due to a stroke. It was very scary. I don't remember much about that day. I remember completing the test on myself that you do, looking for face symmetry, and I know I didn't feel too good, and I sat down and I remember taking my phone and putting it on the selfie mode and looking at my face and smiling and seeing a crooked smile. And sometimes my smile is a little bit crooked because of that. And I remember calling my husband and not being able to say much, just that I wasn't feeling good. And then I needed to go to the hospital, and he gathered our three kids and my mom, and they took me to the hospital. And that's when I remember getting to the emergency department, and it was very frustrating. I couldn't communicate. I was very scared, and the only thing that came out of my mouth to the nurse was fast. And I remember that they were asking us, why did you come to the hospital? And my husband was like, my wife doesn't feel good. And all that came out of my mouth was fast. And she looked at me and she said, excuse me? And I said, fast. And that was it. And then after that was a blur, talking to doctors, nurses, testing. I even had a teleconsult with a neurologist. I was in the north part of Arizona, and they called someone here in the valley, and they did that telehealth, and I ended up staying in the hospital for like 2 or 3 days. The hospital stay, it's very fuzzy. I remember working with physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech, getting a TEE, getting an echo, getting an MRI, but I don't remember a lot about it. So I wanted to give you a perspective. In my case, I don't remember much. I just remember being very scared. I am a nurse, so I've seen the good and the bad that could happen from a stroke, especially because we didn't have any family history, and I was young. They couldn't figure out, and to this day, we're thinking it was related to cardiac. I went to a neurologist. The neurologist couldn't tie to anything neurological in my brain after a bunch of scans, and they realized that I would go into different rhythms. It's called arrhythmias in my heart. I will go into arrhythmias that could cause clots to form, and then they could go to my brain. I have a loop recorder in me on my chest that keeps track of my my heart rhythm. I also, due to the workup and everything, I couldn't tolerate the therapy, the medication to prevent the anticoagulant, which is to prevent clots from forming. I couldn't tolerate that medication, so they went ahead and implanted a watchman in my heart, in the heart appendage. So I also have that, and I've been good. I forget some stuff. I've filmed this video specifically for this in different parts. So I already interviewed my mom, my sister, and my daughter, And my sister reminded me that she noticed that now I cannot multitask how I used to. I have to do one thing at a time. So, and I've noticed that. She says she noticed that, and you'll see that on her part of the interview. So, as part of this, I wanted to give you a family perspective. So, I interviewed my daughter, my youngest one. She was 5 at the time. I interviewed my mom. My mom had gone to on a trip with my kids and my husband and me. Luckily, she wasn't supposed to go, and at the last minute, she decided to go. So I interviewed my mom from a mom's perspective, and I interviewed my older sister. She was living out of state at that time, so she'll give her perspective. I will also interview my husband to get a perspective from a husband, especially when you're like 41 and that happens and you have 3 little ones. Let's see, I don't know. We've never talked about it. I know I never talked about it with my sister or my mom, even my kids, on how they felt and what happened. So here you go. A family perspective on how stroke affects different people in a family, and we'll see what they say. Stay tuned. Hey, hi guys! So here I am with my sister. She is my older sister by just 2 years. So as you know, my stroke happened 6 years ago. I was 41 at the time, and my sister was in a different state, living at the time with her family. So how did you feel? What happened? I don't know anything because I was in the hospital and I was just kept in the dark for a lot of the things that were going on at the time.
So I don't remember if it was my mom or I don't remember who called me, but I received the phone call, and my first reaction was really disbelief. I was in a shock because to me a stroke was something that happened to older people who were somewhat frail, and so for me to receive a call that my younger sister had a stroke, I was confused, I was scared, and I was like this sense of urgency, like I need to get there, because I didn't know if, the only thing I knew about a stroke was that you can either die or people get like lasting, symptoms from it, like it changes their life. I had seen another person, a colleague who had a stroke, and he had a long road, like many, many months after. He could barely talk. He had problems walking, yes, all of that. So that was the image that I had. Like I was really scared, in disbelief. How could this happen?
And I don't think we had family history of families. So this is something new. And me as a nurse, and I know I tell people this and they look at me weird, but I was very scared because I've seen the good outcomes and the bad outcomes from strokes. And I remember doing the test on myself and trying to like find a reason not to believe what was going on. So I don't know if you know, but we were visiting like a telescope astronomy area in Flagstaff, and I felt weird, and I was having difficulty, like I just didn't feel right, and I was having difficulty walking. And then I took the phone out and I did the selfie and I smiled and I couldn't smile. So, but I did that, and that's when I called my husband. So, but it's very scary. I'm fine now, but yeah, but that's how I knew. And then I was holding the phone and I couldn't hold the phone like this.
Mm-hmm. You are a super strong person, because I think I know ignorance can kill you in this case, but in another sense, it's bliss because you don't know how scary it really is. You know what I mean? Like you as a nurse, I imagine, like all the outcomes that can happen, like all the
Yeah.
things. I imagine you've seen people who have had strokes. So I cannot imagine the fear, you knowing that this is what's going through you and you knowing actively this is happening to me,
Yeah.
And for example, a person like me, I don't know, like I may feel, oh, I feel weird, but you know that I call you every time something weird happens.
Yes.
I call you. You're like my encyclopedia, and you go like, whatever, or you'll be like, yeah, So for me, that you are going through that, I was just super impotent, like being in another state and just
Yeah.
thinking like, what's gonna happen? Like, what's gonna happen to her? I remember being like just this sense of what are we gonna do? Like, what is it? Do I have to go take care of the kids? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I
Yeah.
need to leave, call the college. I'm gonna have to ask for a leave of absence because I need to go to Phoenix.
Yeah. But it
You
was
know?
like, but I remember, and that's why I tell people, like, people look at me and they, but it's very important that you guys know, and I'm going to explain how to do the test on other people, but also do it on yourself. You can do it on yourself. Like, I knew my balance was off because I wasn't walking right. I knew, like, I looked in my phone on my selfie mode, and I saw that I couldn't smile and my eye was like drooping. And then when I tried to hold my phone with one arm, I put the other arm out, and it just was, you know, looking at the time. I remember just looking at the time because that's one of
There's
the.
an acronym, isn't
Yeah,
it?
well,
So are
right
you
now,
gonna talk about it?
yeah, I'm gonna talk about it, but it's the acronym was FAST at the time, but now they tell you to be fast. And I remember they added B for balance and eyes for any visual disturbances, and then you have face, and that's when you smile because your smile is just gonna be half of the smile, and um, and then the A is for arms and an arm drift, and then S is for speech. And I remember calling my husband. I was in another area of that place, and I called my husband and I just said hospital. I couldn't even tell my husband I'm not feeling good. I need to go to the hospital and explain to them what was going on. I just said hospital, and I could barely say hospital. And then T is for time, and that's why I remember looking at the time because I said if someone asked me when was the last time I felt okay, I had that sense of urgency of remembering what time it was. And I remember telling my husband when I saw him and I told him the time and he didn't know what it was, I said time. And I told them. So, and we'll talk about that, but that's basically what it is. And I'll show you guys how to do it at the end of the video. How to do the test. So you could do it on yourself, or you could do it on other. Sometimes I walk and I go to the stores and I notice people's smiles, and I'm like, and and I approach people sometimes and they look at me weird, and I just want to make sure that they're okay because I've seen, how this could change lives. So this is,
Something that I've seen though in you, a change that um, I've noticed with you after the stroke is that you need to do one thing at a time in order to focus.
yeah,
I think that's the one thing that I really notice is that if you are doing something, you need to focus on that. And if there's a lot of like noise or a lot of things happening around, it really disorients you. So
yeah.
you have to
I
really have.
for example, when I'm a cardiac nurse and I did ACLS for a long time, which is basically CPR, but it also includes algorithms on when do you defib a patient, when do you give medications, what medications you give at what time, what dosages. And for close to 5 years, I could not do that because I could not remember the algorithms. I knew them, but when I went to take the test, I will not remember that. And I'm back, but I'm now able to do it, and I'm teaching the class. I was just teaching the other day to a group of physicians, but that was something I don't remember a lot of my time growing up, and I might never remember that, but I have my sister, and sometimes she says things, and sometimes I don't remember, but I don't tell her I don't remember. I just kind of go along with it because I don't want her to feel bad. But there's a lot of things I don't remember from when I was growing up, and like I don't remember a lot of things like when I was dating my husband. I don't remember, but I know, I remember our first date at least. I remember, but I don't remember how I met him for the first time. Um,
Yes, you.
yes,
Rebels and rebels.
I don't remember a lot
Summer
of things.
program, CIMD.
I don't
remember
remember
that.
a lot of things like
Was it the
with my
Caifanes
mom.
singer? I remember you told me you met a guy that looked like a Caifanes singer. And I'm like, who is that?
I think I've heard that story. I've heard that after the fact, but I don't remember a lot of things growing up with my mom and dad.
He drove you nuts. He drove you. My accent is real bad. He drove you nuts. I remember that. Yeah. They're like,
So,
I have this guy.
but I hear, but now like my brother, told me a story the other day that I didn't remember, but he was telling me, and like I felt that the story was true. So there's a lot of things that might not come back. Some things are coming back.
So that means I can make up stuff and you'll believe it?
Yeah, you might be able to.
Sorry, my tongue is blue.
She was eating cake. No, but this is, how stroke affects people, and mine. I had other things done with my heart. I had a watchman place to prevent more clots from forming in my heart due to my arrhythmias, so they don't go to my brain anymore. So that's good, but this is how it affects sisters. This is how sisters are affected by stroke. Nothing. I mean, don't be sad. It is nothing to be sad about
because she has me, and I can remind her of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. But this is how a sister relationship was affected, and it was difficult in the beginning. Sometimes I would not want to talk to her, and I will get very mad at her for no reason. But now I'm not, and you guys know I'm an accidental master's student, so I'm able to now get and study my master's and be successful at it. It takes a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes I have to read something 3 and 4 times, but
she is doing it. She's doing it.
But I'm able to do it. So
smart cookie right here.
I want to graduate before my sister graduates. That's what's driving me.
No.
Challenge.
It will not happen.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted. So, but this is how sisters survived a stroke. Hi guys, I am here with my little one. I know she's a little bit shy, but we're looking at the different perspectives on how it's a family perspective on how strokes affect people differently depending on their age and the generation. So I had a stroke 6 years ago, so my little one was 5 years old at the time. We had gone to see Santa Claus, and I remember it happened on our way back home after we had that beautiful experience. So do you remember what you felt when someone told you that mama was sick and had a stroke?
I only remember when we were in the car in front of the hospital, and then I didn't know what was happening. So then I asked, and then they're like, "Oh, mom got sick." I'm like, "How did she get sick?" And then he said she got a stroke, and then I was confused, and I didn't know what a stroke was. So I just thought you got a little sick or something.
That I got a little sick. I know Abuela was telling me that you were asking, is mama having a baby? So no, I wasn't, because you're my baby. But did you felt scared and you didn't know what it was?
Yeah, but then I think when we were waiting for you, we went to the hotel and I was happy.
And you were happy at the hotel? Yeah, because the hospital found a hotel for my mom. Was traveling with me and my husband and the kids, so my mom was able to stay at a hotel with the 3 kids that the hospital found. So those are services that are available for family. Not every hospital has that service, but that was something that was able to. They were allowed to visit me every day at the hospital, and they will stay there for some time, not all day, but But that's just a perspective. She was 5. She doesn't remember much, but she remembers being scared and confused. So maybe now is an opportunity to teach our little ones about stroke, what to look for, and all that. And I will talk about that at the end of this video. Say bye. Hi guys, I'm here with my mom. My mom was with me, my husband, and my kids when I suffered a stroke 6 years ago, and I will be asking her in English. She will answer in Spanish, but if you know Spanish, congratulations, that's really good. But if you don't, I'm gonna have the captions on the bottom. So mom, how did you feel when I understand Ezequiel came to you when you were in the lobby, in the hospital, in the ED. So what did you feel?
Me sentí bien preocupada. En mi familia no hay historial de stroke, pero la experiencia que tenía de gente que había visto que le dio stroke era que perdían parte de sus facultades de hablar, de caminar, se le inmovilizaba alguna parte de su cuerpo, alguna parte de su cuerpo. Y para mí fue un miedo, pensando también en los nenes, cómo se iban a sentir los nenes y cuál sería el futuro de Marien con los nenes. Pensé mucho en ellos, en cómo se iban a sentir ellos, pero tenía mucho miedo cuando yo escuché antes de entrar donde estaba Marien que el doctor dijo stroke. Yo me tuve que parar porque yo sentí como que algo se me fue de mi cuerpo, porque uno desearía como madre que uno recibir todas las enfermedades, todos los sufrimientos, que nadie le pase a los hijos, todos los dolores, todas las lágrimas llorarlas uno, todos los dolores sentirlos y que no le pase a los hijos, porque yo pienso que yo puedo manejar algo, pero si es mi hijo que lo tiene, pues uno cree que
es
no,
difícil,
es más
sí,
difícil.
Es difícil.
Así que yo recuerdo aquel día pensando en qué vamos a hacer, porque Ezequiel no se iba a despegar del hospital. Gracias a Dios que el hospital nos consiguió un sitio donde estar con los nenes y la preocupación de ellos también preocupados. Tal vez ellos no recuerden muchas cosas, pero sí estaban bien preocupados. Recuerdo, hacía mucho frío, había hielo y estar a las 2 de la mañana, sentir que la puerta se abrió del cuarto y ver que la nena estaba fuera, sentadita pensando, la nena mayor, y que ahí se le acercó el nene y ahí nos quedamos un rato hablando y mirando el paisaje, lo que estaba, porque ellos tenían mucha preocupación y no podían dormir. Cuando nos dijeron que alguien nos iba a buscar para venirse a Phoenix y seguir la escuela, de lo que su mamá seguía hospitalizada, inmediatamente la mayor dijo, no me voy sin mi mamá, y el segundo dijo, yo hago lo que haga Paulita. Y la pequeña tenía mucho miedo cuando llegamos al hospital a verla, que nos permitieron. Y recuerdo de la nena más pequeña pararse frente a la cama, los demás fueron a abrazarla, y la más pequeña pararse como que no sabía qué hacer y solamente decir, Mami, I'm scared, Mami, I'm scared, y empezar a llorar. Es bien difícil, pero le doy gracias a Dios que ese día me permitió ir con ellos. Yo no pensaba ir con ellos.
Eso fue como que de último momento tú decides, pues yo voy.
Exactamente.
Porque ya habíamos hecho los planes de nosotros irnos y tú te ibas a quedar.
Yo me iba a quedar, yo tenía muchas dudas de ir para allá, entonces me alegro porque así ellos tuvieron en quien apoyarse y que yo podía guiar, que yo guié y los podía llevar pues, para que Ezequiel se pudiera encargar de Marien y de todas sus cosas, toda su preocupación, porque Ezequiel estaba bien preocupado, avisándole a su familia, estaba bien preocupado, nunca lo había visto llorar y ese día sí, vi llorar. Así es que, lo vi llorar cuando mi esposo murió, pero después de eso, pues no. Y es bien preocupante, incertidumbre qué va a pasar. Es bien difícil. Pero gracias a Dios se recuperó.
Estoy bien.
Y bastante
y bastante problemas que le doy a mi mami.
Bueno.
So this is a perspective from a mom, and I know, like, I totally agree with her because I say the same with my kids. Give me everything. I will take everything, any pain, any worry, anything, give it to me. God, please, I will take it away from them. And I remember my dad used to say that too a lot. So I do not remember a lot, but I do remember when my mom went to see me that we were in the ED. I do remember um, when my mom came in and the doctor was there, and she asked again. I remember her asking, and it's one of the things that stay in my head. I remember her asking, a stroke? And when the doctor said yes, I remember looking at her like she like shriveled back, and I remember looking at her and saying, I'm sorry. I don't know why, because I couldn't, but I remember telling my mom, I'm sorry for this, even though you can't control it. So, but again, this is how a mom feels when a kid has a stroke, regardless of the age. Because I think even if I would have been 70 and she would have been 90, she would have felt the same way. So again, this is a perspective from a mom.
Y que los niños no vieran mi preocupación y que todo iba a estar bien, que no pasaba nada, pero dentro de uno, oh Dios mío,
You
es bien
suffer it.
difícil, es bien difícil. Pero
So
el Señor no le da cargas a uno que uno no pueda soportar.
hi guys, I am here with my husband. He's been here before.
Hey, good.
So May is Stroke Awareness Month, and I just wanted to I know we know statistics and we know what happens and all that stuff, but I wanted just to give like a perspective from a family point of view. So I already interviewed our youngest. She didn't remember much. She was 5. Sophia was 5. And then I interviewed my mom and I interviewed my sister. So I just wanted to see from the perspective of a spouse, a husband, like how you felt when you heard what was going on. I don't remember much of that day. I remember sitting down, pulling off my phone on the selfie mode to look at my smile. And I know I didn't feel good. And I know I called you on the phone, even though we were like close by. I feel like I was walking like sideways or something. Was I? I don't. Was I walking?
Yeah, you're definitely walking sideways.
I was. Yeah, like I felt that like when we were going to the car, and then I just remember getting to the emergency department, and just the lady was asking you, why did we go? And you said, my wife doesn't feel good. And I just remember just saying fast.
Well, I guess what happened was really is
Like I'm
yeah,
very...
no, just kind of recount what happened is we were up in Flagstaff, right? And I was out and about. I was already out in front of the trail, and you had sent one of the kids to come back for me, to go get you. And so when I went back, you were sitting down in the auditorium there where they show some of the presentations, and you were asking me how do I, to check your smile. To check your smile, like, well, like, I don't know how you want to smile. What do you mean check your smile, right? So yeah, so that's kind of what we did first, right? Is to check your smile, and your smile was crooked. And then, you raised your arms up to see, are they both level, right? And one of them was drooping. And so, at that point you said, you weren't feeling good and you think you were having a stroke or something. And so, we gathered the kids. I gathered the kids and your mom and put them in the car and took off to the hospital, and it was interesting. The hospital was interesting. I think, at the moment, it was, we were pretty calm and collected. I mean, one of the things is, we had the kids, so It's not something that you can. You don't want to freak out on. You don't want to. Show what your emotions are at that time, just because you have to be strong there for your kids and your family, and besides, I was driving, so you gotta be careful there. The one thing that really kind of got me was a little bit was, to be honest, was when we got to the hospital. The I told the registration person that we were there, that we wheeled you in, and I told her that you were having a stroke, and she kind of looked at me like, how do you know that, right? And it's like, well, we did the fast test, right? And we explained that to her, and I don't know if it was just me, my emotions at the time. It could have been my emotions at the time. We kind of like, I didn't really care about it at that moment. As far as her question is, as why would you know that? How would you know whether she is or isn't, right? I'm being questioned of that nature. Now I get that, because I could understand the question, right? Because in general, people do not know about fast, right?
That's true.
And they don't know it in general. Now, but when I explained to her what we did, right, as far as the smile, the arms, and at that point she took it seriously, and she went right away. It wasn't until a little bit later, once we had you in the hospital, we were already.
I just want to say, like, everything, like, from that moment on, like, moved pretty quickly.
Well, I mean, it might have been moved pretty quickly for you, but for me, it moved a little bit slow. We were there for what, 3 days?
Yeah,
3
no,
days.
but I mean, like, in the ED itself.
Yeah, well, we went to the ED. They wheeled you into the ED. And because of the location of the hospital, it was only one hospital in that city. So they had contracted with another hospital. So there was a telemedicine, right?
Yeah.
So the physician was actually via telemedicine, and they were going through it, and they were asking the nurses, to do this and to give them the vitals, right? As they were,
I don't remember much from all that.
And then we did the 12 EKG leads and all that, all that stuff, and they explained a lot of stuff to us at that time. Now we're soaking it all in. I was soaking it all in. Don't ask me to repeat exactly what we're doing now, but at the time I was doing my best to understand everything that was going on. And then it's interesting because it's a wait and see game. When they tell you, after all the exams and the tests that we were doing there in the ED, they come back and tell you it's probably looks to be like some type of either it's a TIA or what's the other one with the
a stroke.
No, where the separation of the vein. What is it? The
hemorrhagic stroke?
No, it's where
I don't know.
The blood clot forms between the lining in the vein. What is it?
A clot?
Like a clot, yeah. Like a clot forms and all that. But they couldn't find anything, right? So they didn't find anything at all. They didn't find any problems with any veins, right? And they said, well, it's a TIA. Well, what's a TIA? Well, basically is we don't know is really what a TIA is, right? And so
I guess that was something confusing because, like, sometimes, like, they will say, oh, you had a stroke, but then, like, they will put TIA, like, it was...
Yeah, it's a
transient ischemic attack.
Yeah, transient ischemic attack. Yeah. And so, again, big words to say we don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. So
for me, it makes a lot of sense because as a nurse, like, sometimes you don't. But
yeah, but it still doesn't doesn't
Yeah.
provide you anything though. I mean, I know what it is, but it doesn't mean anything in the sense that it doesn't identify why you had the stroke.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
later on, I do remember, like, when I went to the neurologist here,
Mm.
that's when he went into giving me more information and saying that sometimes people my age will get these things and you will never find a reason. They just happen and they just happen.
Yeah.
And there's no, but that, I guess
I think
that
that you just
wasn't.
didn't want to go anymore. You wanted to go home now. You didn't want to be.
No,
We were
no.
at the observatory, which was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I know. But so did you, like, because for me, I was like really scared, but I don't know if I showed I was scared.
No, you showed that you were scared. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it just depends on what you think. What the scared looked like. I mean, you were very cautious. It looked like you were very stiff and very. You were concerned. Your body language showed that you were very concerned. It didn't show anything like, you're not gonna be yelling, "Oh, I'm so scared! I'm scared!" No, it doesn't always happen like that. It doesn't
And
really necessarily happen
I
like
don't
that.
think the situation like allowed me to.
Well,
Like I was
yeah, and I
for
and I think I think you did the same thing as I did. I mean, we had the kids,
yeah.
and so you don't want to alarm them.
I was
What's
like,
going on?
yeah. I just But this is from, and this is, and it's very funny because this is like his perspective of it, and I think a lot of times people, you're very
I get the right perspective. Let's put it that way.
no, but you're like, for you, you don't go with your like emotions, like you always look at the situation and you're like, okay, let me analyze what's
Yeah,
happening.
I think when it comes to those situations, I think I become a little bit more hyper focused, a little bit, aware of the surroundings. What needs to identify the situation and try to resolve it, right? The
Yeah.
true guy, right? And that I need to fix things, but
Yeah.
I think it did hit me. I mean, it hit me. No, it really did. I think what happened is um, when I called my family, when they took you to the back and I think your mom went with you to the back, briefly.
Mhm.
Um, I think at that point I called my family.
Yeah, that's what my mom
And
said.
yeah.
That's what my mom said. I don't, like I said, I don't remember much about that, but my mom, when I talked to her about it, she said that you went with the kids because the kids, they stayed in the car. That's what she said. They stayed in the car, and then when you saw that it was something that was going to take a little bit more time, they went into the lobby, I guess, to wait inside, and then I something like that. She said, I don't know, like.
Yeah, no, what happened is we went up to the emergency. We went to the emergency, I went in. Your mom was still in the car. She stayed in the car with the kids. I went and I got a wheelchair. I had wheelchair. We got you out. I think I had asked someone as well. I can't recall that part. And we wheeled you in, but I think I had I went and parked the car, and but I had brought all the kids in with me. Yeah, everyone was in there with me. I wasn't gonna leave the kids in the car.
So she
with
said
your
that
mom.
you came out after being there for a while, and then you told her to go with me, so I wasn't alone. And then
Yeah, I think
you stayed with the kids.
Yeah, while I parked and got the kids out and everything, I think I had your mom go in at that moment. So I think what I did is when I got you registered and I told them what had happened, and told them about the fast and everything like that. I think at that point I came out and I said, okay, well then I needed your mom to go with you so I could go park the car, just get the kids out and everything,
Yeah.
and get all that
And
stuff
then
squared
just
away.
trade.
But I didn't call my family right away. Actually, I think what I did is I went in with you. Once your mom came out, I went in and then
Because they
get some
didn't. Did they
information.
tell you right away? I don't remember.
Well, no, they said that you were having a stroke, so they were going through all the stroke
Okay.
protocols. It wasn't until afterwards I came out, and your mom went back in, where I called my family and started telling that you had a stroke, you were going through tests, and we didn't know what was going on for the most part, why, but you're going through these tests and so on. And everybody, is just um, curious as to what they could do and help, and wishing the best and praying and all that. But that's when that's I think is when it hit me. It really it got to me. Broke down a little bit in the lobby.
Because now you verbalize it. I think sometimes when you don't say it, like for me, if I don't say something, it's like it's not happening. But as soon as I verbalize, this is what's happening, it just kind of be like, oh my gosh, like this is what's happening.
Yeah, well, because at that point it's real for you, right?
Yeah.
At that point, you're making it real for you because you're actually hearing yourself saying it. You're going through it, and your emotions are coming out at that point. So that's when it got me. But then we went back and again got into a different mode and paying attention to what's going on and what's happening and so on.
That's very
Yeah.
and I think that's what for me, what kept me calm and not as scared was because you were like you looked and you sounded, I don't know, like when I was asleep or when I wasn't looking at you, but I think like having you seem like everything was okay
Yeah.
and what's gonna be okay is what helped me. And then also like having the kids with my mom, because my mom in the beginning, she wasn't gonna go on the trip with us. It was just kind of like a last minute add-on, and I'm like really glad that she did. And but I think just having you calm and having the kids taken care of, I think that really helped me. Um,
Yeah, no, so throughout that whole time, I mean, it's not as if you didn't go to sleep, you didn't do anything. I think, you were, it's not like you were passed out. You were
No.
conscious. You were processing all the information.
I was just slow.
Yeah, you were processing all the information. You were just kind of, I don't know, probably, if anything, I would say you're like in shock, You're processing the information.
Yeah.
You're going through it at that moment. And then, probably when you recall it later, you just kind of, you forget about it. You don't recall as much. But we were talking, we were joking. Actually, we were joking around with the doctor at the, when we were in there. So, and then the doctor at the hospital as
But
well.
I tend to do that, like
Yeah.
when I get scared, I tend to like
Yeah.
joke about stuff, or when I feel, I tend, because I just want to lighten the mood and just like
Yeah.
convince myself that everything is gonna be
Yeah,
okay.
no, and that doctor in the hospital is there in the emergency room. Really good doctor. He was very great with us. Spoke with us. To a point so that we can understand better. At least for me, being with a non-medical background, but he did great. He was very comforting to us. He was very reassuring. He was very honest. Of what they find or what they didn't find. So he was very honest with us, which I appreciated very much. I don't really care for going around and around. And so the thing is, we just needed to then wait.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was what really got me the most is the waiting part, and because it happened for us, it happened during the weekend. Well, I think it was on a Friday.
So
It was a Friday or Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, and then we didn't actually we weren't actually discharged until Monday,
Yeah.
and so we had a lot of trouble, just because of the time of the year that it
Yeah.
happened.
It was like Christmas time, and then it was right after Thanksgiving, and then it was like on a weekend.
It was right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So a lot of the hotels and motels were booked up because this town, the city it's actually a lot of people go there. It's a beautiful little town, you know.
But we went
And
for the Santa Claus
yeah, well,
experience, the
yeah, we
North
went for the
Pole
Santa.
experience,
Yeah,
and that it was full. So
yeah. So there, I mean, they always have a lot of winter activities there, which is great. It's, you know, but it was very difficult because there wasn't a lot of availability in rooms and hotels and
but the hospital
yeah.
helped
So the
in that.
hospital help provided us some good resources. They actually have a little hotel there for individuals that were struggling to find locations, and we actually got in to a room, which I didn't stay at. Your mom and the
And the
kids
kids,
stayed.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was quite the experience. It was quite the experience. You
Yeah.
know, I think even then going through that, you know, it always it you're running through things in your mind as far as, well, what does that mean, right? Are you going to are you to recover? Are you not going to recover? How, what does it look like? As far as, because we all see the bigger issues, the
Yeah.
strokes where the stroke leaves you impaired in some way, right? Where one side of your body is droopy, right? It's having hard functioning,
I mean, I
or
could see
your
like
mental capacity is
I
is.
see, I see my mouth like
Oh, you're always like that, but you're like that. No, I mean, to be honest, I'd
like
say
if
you've always recovered. I don't think you
I
have
go like
anything.
this.
Yeah, but we didn't. I think we were very fortunate in
Yes.
that
Yes.
none of that happened.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I'll take this. Like, I take a little bit of a crooked.
well, I don't know if it was actually ever straight. To be
No, I'm
honest,
gonna have to look
to
at
be
my.
honest,
I have to look at my pictures.
yeah, no,
We
do
could
it,
joke
do
now,
it.
like we could joke
Yeah,
now, but
absolutely.
you have to, live and learn from the experiences. Like I was talking to my sister, and I still she pointed out that now, like before I could do a lot of multitasking, and now I have to just like do one thing at a time.
Hmm.
Like I cannot multitask how I used to be able to do. Um, I I notice that sometimes, and it's frustrating, and I always say, "Oh, I'm just getting old." But I don't know.
The thing is with
I'm not like
and,
old,
and I guess
but
the thing is we could always say is, look, there's no such thing as multitasking, right? Because
so
you're either doing one thing or you're doing another. You're just doing a little bit at a time,
yeah.
But you're not multitasking.
Yeah.
Right?
So, but she told me like before I could, and now it's
Yeah.
just she's noticed that. I know I told her, I don't remember a lot of. I've never like remember a lot of things, but like I remember even less of like stuff. Sometimes my brother tells me stories and I don't remember them, but I don't remember a lot. Like I was telling my sister, I remember our first date when we went to graduation. I remember our first date, but I don't remember how I met you, for example.
Oh, that's okay, because I don't remember that either.
No, but for me, like for me, you never remember anything.
Well,
but,
I mean,
but like for
yeah.
me, for me that's important to remember that. So, like I don't remember that. So my sister just reminded me today when I was talking to her. She's like, yeah, you told me that you met this guy and he reminded you of the singer from the Caifanes.
That doesn't sound like me at all.
I
I thought she would have said, like Gomer Pyle or what's that other one
Who's
from?
that? Who's
And look
that?
it up. You could Google it, or
Who's Gomer?
or Barney Fife. Then Barney.
I don't know who those people are.
I'll Google it. You'll see. You'll
Okay,
see.
I'm gonna Google.
You'll
No,
have to Google it.
but she told me that, and like those are little things that I wish I could remember, but in the bigger scheme of things,
Mm.
like for example, I struggle a lot after to remember my ACLS. You remember how frustrated I was, and I mean I cried, like, and I was so frustrated, and I
Yeah.
cried because I couldn't remember it. But now, like, I'm finally able to again, and it just takes practice. And I just wanted to do. I think I wanted to do too much too soon. Um, After the stroke, I wanted to go back and be the same. And I went through many things, right? So and now I'm able to do that, so I'm really happy about that. So I don't remember some things that that my brother tells me, or like things that I wish I would remember. Like I see, there's a picture of you and me at your mom's house when we were dating, and I don't remember a lot on that period, but again,
Yeah, it was a
he's
blur for
here.
me too.
So if you know,
Again, I don't remember.
he doesn't remember much. But this is a perspective from a husband, and
Yeah.
and I'm lucky that my husband looks at it very analytically, um, for the sake of me not getting more scared, I guess, and the kids being taken care of. Um, but this is just a different perspective. I interviewed. You're gonna see my mom and my sister and our youngest one, just giving us the recollection of what they remember. And I hope this is something. It is a scary thing. Going through it is very scary, but it's something that if you have a support system, and I think you'll be good. You'll be okay. You know. I still bug you a lot. And
You bugged me from before too, though. But you
so
bugged me
that
from
didn't
before.
so that
That
didn't
hasn't
change.
changed.
No, but we could talk about it now and joke about it. It's not a joking matter, but for us, we can smile and talk about it because we came okay on the other side of this.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it is, look, coming out ahead is always key, right? And how you come out ahead and how you manage with your situation on that other side, as it may be. Because
Yeah.
look, even if you would have came out with one side, droopy, and one side with with weakness, there's a matter of having to put things into perspective and understand that, what, you're still around, you still have your health to continue on to be with your loved ones and all that. So for it's not, ideally you want to have
Yeah.
all your functions, but hey, however that is, you just need to be encouraged and take things. um you can't take it all so serious where it consumes you,
Yeah.
and it puts you in a dark place, because that's always easy to do, even when you don't have the situation, right? um you just need to have that attitude that you're going to overcome. You're going to have a positive attitude, and everything will be all right, you
And be
know.
aware of, like I'm very aware, like
Hmm.
I know when I get into stressful situations that I start, having some signs, and so I just stop. And remember, this happened to me in school, like towards the beginning. I was doing a class for something, and I wasn't feeling too good, and my daughter saw that my smile was getting a little bit, and I just, sometimes it's just a little bit of, just, you need to take a break, and you need to like stop, and don't get too stressed, because we know some of the things that cause strokes is like stress and high blood pressure and stuff like that. And once you have had gone through this, you're more susceptible for things to happen again. So just knowing your body and knowing the signs and all that stuff. So again, another perspective, I can always count on my husband to just look at the more analytical,
I'm not
silliest.
spontaneous. Are you saying? Is that what you're saying? I'm not
No,
spontaneous.
you are spontaneous, but it, like, sometimes I get very frustrated because you're super analytical about
Uh-huh.
things. But in that case, it was the right
Well,
thing
I
to
just
do.
need to try to fix things, you know.
So that was the perspective from my family. You heard from my mom, my sister, my husband, and my daughter. And I hope you saw how different family members are affected by someone having a stroke and just their attitudes toward it. It was very scary for me. For them, it was scary, but they dealt with it differently. And something that you heard and we talked a lot about was about the FAST test, which is what my husband and I did and what I did with my phone. But now there's a new test that you can do on yourself or your loved ones, and it's BFAST, BEFAST. So B stands for balance, and that's something that I noticed and my husband noticed, that I was not walking straight. I was just walking like I kept drifting to the side. So I was not balancing myself. The E stands for eyes or for vision disturbances. That's something that I don't remember um, for myself, but I don't remember a lot about that day. Then we have the F for face, and that's what I was doing when I did the test with my phone on the selfie mode, is the smile. So it's your face droopy. So like I smile now, you see my smile, but what happens is that depending on which side of the brain your stroke is, it's gonna droop, and like it will be like your eye and your mouth will droop like that, and you could smile, but nothing will that would happen. So that's what the F is for. A is for arms, and that's something, another thing that I did. And basically, you just go like this and you close your eyes, and one of the arms will kind of drift down. Then you have S for speech. I had a little bit of a slurred speech, and I was used like I could think about words, but I couldn't say them, or they were coming out jumbled up. That's something that I read on my file. So for speech, and then you have T, and it is for time. And I remember always looking at my watch, and I mentioned that when I was talking to my sister that I was looking at my watch. I wanted to know the time, because T is time to call 911. It's also when was the last time that you saw that person at the, or that you felt normal, because that's gonna be when we're gonna be able, when you go to the hospital, they're gonna know what therapy and what tests need to happen, and they need that time frame to be able to treat you accordingly and safely. So that's why they use the time. So be fast, balance, eyes, face, arms, speech, and time. So I hope this was informational for you, and just you know, hopefully you learned something with these experiences. Again, it's something that is very worrisome, and there's good outcomes and bad outcomes. But taking care of yourself, inform yourself, educate yourself about this. Take care of your heart, so then your heart can take care of your brain. And if you have any questions, just put them in the comments. And I hope to see you guys pretty soon. And remember, May is Stroke Awareness Month. Thank you so much. See you later.